In 1974, in my third year of medical school in Ethiopia, my clinical year, the military overthrew the Emperor Hila Salasi. One of the first acts of the military leader, who became known as the Stalin of Africa, one of his first acts was to close the university and send the students to the countryside to educate the masses. This is almost a reflex of so-called strong men to attack the places where truth and reason prevail. As an expatriate, I had little choice but to leave. Among my medical school classmates who at that point went underground to join the guerrilla forces fighting against the Stalin of Africa was a brilliant student named Meles Zenawi. I have yet to meet a student as brilliant as Meles. Meles obviously gave up his career path to medicine, became a guerrilla fighter, rose to become the leader of the rebel group, fighting for 17 years until his troops finally succeeded in displacing the military dictator. He became prime minister for 3 terms, and to quote President Clinton, speaking about him, he was a new generation of African leader. One might disagree with many of his decisions, but in the village where Meles grew up, you cannot tell his mother's hut from the hut next to it. He never did anything to enrich himself. I returned to Ethiopia for the first time 2 decades after I left on a magazine assignment to interview the new Prime Minister, Meles. We sat in his very modest Prime Minister's office, a far cry from the gilded palace of his 2 predecessors, and we caught up. He talked about the tough decisions he had to make every day in a country that was ethnically divided, impoverished by a long civil war, and with the treasury looted by the former dictator. He shared with me something that I'll never forget. He said, during the long years of the guerrilla war, his forces could only move freely at night, but they had to cross fields sowed with Cuban and Russian mines. They would be forced to ask for a volunteer from among them, from among their own, to walk through the minefield to try and find a safe crossing. And so he said to me,